Hey everyone, this is Adrienne. We're gonna do some yoga. I'm just going to rearrange my computer so you can see where my mat is. 1 second. Let's see. Okay, hopefully it doesn't tip over. Okay, so everyone grab a mat or find a non-slippery surface for safety mostly. And if you like to use pillows or bolsters or blocks or any type of support, feel free to grab those now, as well as some water. Yeah, we'll get started. So today we're actually going to start laying down on our bellies. And if you're wearing a scarf like me, maybe you want to remove it. So we will be face down lying on our mats. And we're going to start with our hands knit together underneath the forehead and rest the forehead down on the hands. Actually, knit together doesn't feel so great. I have really bony knuckles, so you can also just rest palms one on top of the other. Maybe wiggle the hips side to side, loosening up the low back. And we will just choose to settle in today, laying down on our bellies. Now, if being on your belly is uncomfortable or unsafe, if you're pregnant, please feel free to do this on your side or on your back. Just whatever feels comfortable. The point is just to create some space in the low back and relax and focus for a little bit before we start moving. So whatever that looks and feels like to you. We'll take a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And to start, I suggest maybe counting to 5 on the inhale, which will encourage you to lengthen out the breath. So exhale any breath that you have now in your lungs. And we'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold at the top. And exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold on empty at the bottom of the exhale. Again, inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold at the top. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold on empty. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the top of the inhale. And exhaling. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding empty. I will continue to draw on top if you'd like to feel that sense of fullness. And then extending the release rather than collapsing into the exhale. On our bellies, we can really feel, we can detect the impact of controlling and extending and sustaining the breath versus letting it loose. So we'll feel our belly and our chest collapse down into the mat, which is fine for different release, but just challenge yourself to see what it physically and energetically feels like now with this exercise. Let's do one more round. 5 counts in, hold, and 5 counts out to exhale. And allow the breath to be natural. You rock the hips side to side again. Extend the left leg out long behind you, keeping the forehead down on the mat, arms down on the mat. Just Maybe lifting the left leg a little slightly. Point the toes back behind you. Feel the legs engage, the glutes. Maybe the butt starts to hurt a little bit. And set the leg back down. Compare it right to left. For me, my right leg feels really, really short. So we'll do it on the other side now. See if we can encourage the right leg to elongate. So lifting, engaging, and extending out through the right toe this time. Keeping hips, forehead, elbows, and arms on the mat. Pointing the right toe. Engaging the whole leg so we feel extension out through the entire femur, from the hip. And rest the right leg down. Maybe we feel a little bit more even, never perfect. Now let's do that again. Left leg extends out through the ball and toe of the left foot. Trying to create some space in that joint, the hip joint. And I'll press down on the top of the right foot at the same time to anchor our right hip, our right leg down. And release the left. And now finally extend the right leg long behind you. Pressing down on the left foot, the top of the left foot on the ground. And release. Shake the hips side to side. And now we'll do the same thing, but with our arms. So getting a little bit of light for the first time in a while. We'll extend the right arm forward, lifting off the mat. Arm is long, extended. And I'm starting with my head raised. You can keep it down on the mat if you'd like. This will be a little bit more shoulder extension on the right side. And we'll lift the left leg, so opposite hand, opposite foot in the air. Fingers and toes going in opposite directions away from the torso. And release. And now we'll switch to the other side. Right, or your left arm goes out far in front of you. Head can stay on the ground or be lifted. Extend the right foot long behind you. Everything lifts, engaging the glutes. Long, straight left arm. And release leg and arm. I'll do that one more time. I'm going to shift back. I don't have great room in front of me for my arms. Okay, engaging the right arm forward, left leg behind, everything lifts. Long, engaged legs. Pressing the top of the right foot down on the mat. And we'll switch, lift the left arm, lift the right leg. Pressing the top of the left foot. And release. Shake it out. All right. Then we're going to pull up into a nice, familiar, hopefully comfortable shape, Sphinx. So still on the belly, except we walk our elbows in towards the chest. So the elbows are anchored right underneath or slightly in front of our shoulders, but are at about shoulder width apart one from the other. Forearms are parallel, so our fingertips are reaching forward in front of us. We're, if possible, on the tops of our feet. And for a second, you can press down on the tops of the feet, engage the legs so that the kneecaps lift up off the floor. And then press the whole wide, broad palm into the ground. Press the forearms and the elbows and feel the chest extend through the shoulders a bit, up towards the ceiling. Maybe your gaze tilts up. So we feel super anchored in the pelvis, the feet, the arms, and it's just the head and the chest that are free. And we can relax back down, slowly shake the hips. Few long breaths in and out. All right, we'll come right back up into that Sphinx again, walking the arms in. rolling the shoulders down the back to express through the chest and collarbones. This time we're going to bend the left knee out to the side, coming into a kind of 90-degree angle. So our ankle is located, our ankle and our heel is right underneath our knee in the same line, and our knee is located out directly in the same line as our hip. The right leg remains straight behind you, still on the top of the foot, toes pointing away, and we're still pressing the floor away, chest facing forward, gaze is soft down over the nose. We're just encouraging the left hip to open up in this half frog position. If it's uncomfortable or feels unstable staying up on the elbows, propped up, you can release the chest down to the floor, place the forehead back on stacked palms. And we'll stay in this half frog for 3 more deep, slow breaths. Maybe you start to feel the bones of the hips and the pelvis creeping towards the floor. And then we'll extend the left leg long behind us alongside the right, and we'll swap it out for the right leg. So right leg bends up. You have the right heel underneath the the right heel underneath the right knee, and the right knee is to the outer edge on the same line as the right hip. So you have a 90-degree angle, like we're making a rectangle out from our right hip. And you can stay grounded, chest and arms grounded on the ground like this. Or you can rise up to that Sphinx posture with the chest and arms for a little more upper body engagement. Maybe if you're up in Sphinx, you can press into those forearms, maybe engage the low belly. You feel it lift away from the floor. At the same time, we're feeling the right hip open up. And each breath we take in, envision that you are directing it down to that right hip, or down to cushion the low back. I'll take 3 more breaths wherever you are. We'll extend the right leg long alongside the left. We'll do this one more time on each side with a little added twist. So left leg tucks up, finding the square, extending out from the left hip. This time we're going to extend the right arm forward, and we're going to thread the left arm underneath it. You can stay like this, lowering the chest and the forehead down to the mat. So we'll stop here first. So we're getting an outer left shoulder stretch. Whew. If you like, you can have both palms facing the ground, and you can press the floor away for a little more extension there. And if you want to engage with the twist, you can start to walk the right hand back and towards the face, and the left shoulder creeps underneath the body. You can bend that right arm, the elbow up towards the ceiling, and start to turn over to the right. So we're pressing the floor away with our right hand. Feel a twist and a stretch maybe on the right side of the back. And then we'll come through center Again, untwist the arms. And this time, send the left arm forward. Right arm bends and slides underneath the left, starting to look and turn over to the right, to the left. And you're resting and stretching the outer right shoulder on the ground, and you can stay face down here for 3 breaths. You can stay here, or you can bend the left arm and start to twist open to the left. So the right top of the right arm creeps further to the left, and we're pressing the floor away with the left arm. This time we feel the twist and the slight stretch on the left side of the low back. All the while we're trying to keep the left hip grounded. So maybe you even find like a little prayer twist here. You're pressing with the right arm and elbow into the floor. The 2 hands press into each other. All right, coming out of that, slowly extending the left leg back. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So this time we bend the left leg, the right leg up. Sorry, mixing this up. So right leg is bent, right knee is 90 degrees and straight out away from the right hip, and the right ankle and heel are underneath the right knee directly. So same vertical line. So this time we'll extend that same arm forward, which is still the left. Bending the right arm, scooting it underneath for that outer right, top right shoulder stretch. Gaze can be down, forehead can be down. Take 3 breaths. All right. Now we try the twist. So we bend the left arm, press the floor away, start to creep the right arm forward over to the right, rather, twisting open to the left. And then swapping out the arms on the sides. This time, right arm goes forward in front of you, left arm bends and scoots underneath the right arm. Gaze goes to the left, or forehead down on the ground to stretch out the top left shoulder. Right fingers continue to creep forward, long right arm. And if you'd like to try the twist to the right, you bend the right arm, you stamp the right palm down on the ground, you creep the left fingertips to walk away from the body to the left, and you start to press the floor away with the right arm, twisting open to the right. If you liked that prayer twist variation, bringing the hands together and pressing the floor away with the left elbow, you can do that, looking over the right shoulder. Still trying to keep the right hip grounded on the ground. All right. Gently bring yourself through center, extend the right leg alongside the left, and find and pause in Sphinx again. Draw the shoulder blades down the back, feeling the collarbones broaden, pressing the floor away with the flat, broad palms, forearms, elbows, engaging through the belly button. Maybe you feel the low back more supported as it curves. Feeling the bones, the pubic bones, maybe the hip bones, the tops of the feet and the floor. All right, we're going to meet in a standing fold, but come through child's pose. So let's reverse that back bend. Woo. So the legs can separate, the knees can separate, the chest and the belly can fall between them. Two arms walk forward away from the hips, working to lengthen and straighten both arms. Take 3 slow breaths. Feeling the seat come closer to the heels. All right. And up through tabletop. Let's do a few cows and cats, arching the spine in both directions. Allowing the head to drop and the head and the hips to raise. All right, tucking the toes, pressing into the palms, lift the hips up and back, finding down dog. Maybe bending into each leg one at a time. Stretching through the backs of the legs, waking up the ankles, the balls of the feet. And then let's see if we can find stillness for 3 breaths. Straightening the arms, pressing the floor away, pressing in through each individual finger across the palm. Trying to spiral the upper arms towards one another. So the elbow points, the soft points direct forward towards the fingers. Engaging the belly, maybe the hips are able to shift back a little bit. And bending the knees, coming up onto the toes, look forward and we'll step to the center of the mat to hang the torso over the legs. Swaying forward and back, shifting the weight into the front and the backs of the feet, the toe end and the heel end. You can also sway the torso side to side to loosen the low back, also while stretching out the backs of the legs. Lock the hands up onto the shins to press the shins away. Engage the low belly, work to straighten the spine out from the hips, so keeping the hips back over the feet, allowing the head to guide the line of the spine. Breathing here. And fold over the legs. If they're not already, soften the knees, loosen up the legs. Let the arms be loose as well and hanging. And we're just gonna flow a little bit, so brush the arms back up and behind you, spin in the air. And sweep them up overhead, come to standing, inhale. Exhale, fold over the legs, sweep the arms behind and up, straighten the legs. Bend, inhale up. Exhale, fold, extend the legs. Bend, inhale, stand up. Do that a few more times. Me and my knees are cracking a little bit. But we're opening the chest, inviting more breath into the lungs, getting moving. All right, pause at the top, press into the feet, expand, extend the fingers and the palms. Palms are facing forward. Engage the belly, work to bring the head and the shoulders over the hips and over the feet. Engaging the feet, maybe pick up all of the toes away from the floor. And then try one by one to replace them on the ground. Let the arms drape by the sides, maybe shake out the palms. And then broaden the arms, the palms to face forward. Lower the chin towards the chest, maybe close the eyes. Take a few breaths. All right, now we're getting started. So at the top of the mat, inhale the arms up overhead. The exhale, fold over the legs, placing the palms on the mat. Step the right leg backwards, stepping onto the ball of foot on the right side. Maybe rock forward and back. Come to stillness, engage the legs. So pulling the right hip forward, left hip back. Engage the belly, maybe walk the hands up onto the thigh to pause. And then extending the two arms alongside the ears, bringing the torso upright, finding high crescent lunge. Few breaths here. Feel out the lunge. Inhale the left arm back to twist open to the left. Inhale again, up. I'm going to face away from you for a second, but we're going to lower the right heel down to the ground, opening the hips open to the right, coming into warrior two. Lower the right palm down to the right thigh, extending the left arm up overhead for a reverse or exalted warrior. Arms, cartwheel, finding bent left arm, bent left elbow on the left thigh. Sweeping the right arm up overhead for side angle. Looking under the right armpit. Back to warrior two. Sweep up onto the ball on the right foot to face forward. And find our crescent lunge again. Inhale and lunge. Exhale, twist open to the left. Inhale, lunge forward. Exhale, open, warrior two. Inhale, exalted. Exhale, forward fold. Sorry, side angle. Don't know why I said that. Back up to warrior two. Sweeping the arms onto the ball of the foot, face forward, crescent lunge. We're going to bend that back knee, the right knee down to the mat to hover. Back up to lunge. Do a few more dips. There's two. Lunge. Three. Lunge. Bring the hands into the heart. Bend that back knee and spring forward to stand on the left foot, drawing the right knee into the chest. Leveling out the hips, and maybe you pull the right hip down in line with the left, circling out the right ankle, and hovering foot. And you can stay here, or you can grab the right knee with the left arm, extending the right arm back, and starting to twist it open to the right, gazing over the left shoulder. You can stay here, or you can extend the right leg in the air. Woo. Coming back to standing. This time we're going to cross the right ankle over the left thigh, finding figure four, bending the left standing knee, sinking the hips down and back, opening the right outer hip, flexing through the right foot, coming back upright, hugging the right knee into the chest. We're going to slowly dip through parallel to the floor, finding warrior three. So chest is on the same line as the floor. Maybe you bend in the standing leg, flex out through the back, hovering right foot. Both hips are facing the ground. Bending the standing leg to come into your high crescent lunge, arms up, inhale. And fold over the legs, step back to your plank. Hold here for inhale. On the exhale, bend the arms, bend the elbows back, lower down, chaturanga. Move forward, new back bend, up through the tops of the feet, shoulders broaden, rolling over the toes, down dog. 3 breaths here. After 3 breaths, bend the knees up onto the tops of the toes, the balls of the feet. Looking forward, step up to the front of the mat and fold. Find that halfway lift, press the shins away, long back, fold. Press into the feet, sweep the arms all the way up, inhale at the top. Exhale, hands through center, down by the sides. All right, we'll do that on the other side. Sweep the arms up, inhale. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift, look forward. Exhale, fold. This time, we're gonna step the left foot back, finding our low lunge, rocking forward and back, saying hello to the left front of the hip. And finding stillness, this is where we engage the legs, pulling the right hip back, left hip forward, walking the hands up onto the thigh, and then extending the arms up overhead, alongside the ears, torso is upright. A few breaths here to experience just that high crescent lunge. Fingertips are extending up towards the ceiling as our hips remain heavy. Inhale, open up to the right, looking over the right shoulder, twisting open. Inhale, up through center. A lot of inhale cues on here. Mostly it's because I realize I'm letting some passive exhales out in between the major movements. It's not very helpful for people watching along, so I apologize. Let's do that again. This time, exhale, open to twist. Inhale, up through lunge. Exhale, open, warrior 2, other side. So your left heel comes down to the ground. Toes on the left foot are facing forward. Arms extend out long. Raise the right arm in the air. Left palm finds the left thigh, exalted warrior. Inhale back up through warrior 2. Finding side angle, bent right elbow. Sweep the left arm long over the ear. Back through warrior 2. Sweep up onto the ball of the left foot, face the hips forward. High crescent lunge. Inhale. Exhale, twist open to the right. Inhale, high crescent lunge. Exhale, open warrior 2. Inhale, exalted warrior. Exhale. Let's find side angle. Inhale, warrior 2. And we'll do one more, exalted. Warrior 2. Inhale through center, finding crescent lunge. Bending the left knee this time, lower down to the mat. Back up, high lunge. Dip number 2. Back up to lunge. Exhale, dip for 3. Back up to lunge. Bring the hands into heart center. Springing off the back left foot. Come to stand upright on the right foot. Pulling the right knee into the chest. And you can stay facing forward here, working to level out the left hip with the right. Or you can grab the left knee with the right arm. Extend the left arm out and back behind you. Twisting open to the left. Engaging the belly as we twist. And maybe you extend that floating leg. Back through center. Kicking the left leg back out behind you. Finding warrior 3. Chest and hips are parallel to the floor below you. You can bring a nice bend to the standing leg. And we're just going to step back down, finding back crescent lunge. Inhale. And I might have screwed this up, so spring back up to standing on the right leg. All we're going to do is bend the left leg, crossing the left ankle over the right knee, coming into figure four, other side, lowering the hips down, bending the right knee, which is a standing leg. Hands can be at the heart. We're stretching into the outer left hip. Pressing into the right standing leg, coming upright. And now let's just step back into that high lunge. Plant the palms, step back to plank, hold here. Bending the elbows, shifting the body forward over the fingertips. Bend the knees, lower down. Up dog for back bend. And pause and down dog. 3 long breaths here. Same cues as before. Press the flat and spread the palms. Engage the belly, feel the hips pull back in space. Rotate the upper arms towards one another so the elbows point forward. Bend the knees, come up onto the toes, look forward. Step, step to fold at the front of the mat. Halfway lift, press the shins away with the palms. Exhale, fold. Press into the feet, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, hands through the center, down by the sides. Lower the chin towards the chest. Check in with your breathing and your heart rate. Maybe it's sped up. Now it's okay to signal that it slows down again. All right. So let's spread the feet out. Toes are pointing out. Feet are planted a little bit wider than your hips. And all you're gonna do is bend the knees, sink the hips down, coming into squat. Hands can find each other in the center of the chest. Elbows press into the inner knees and the knees press into the elbows or the upper arms. Engaging the arches of the feet so our weight shifts into the outer edges of the feet rather than dumping in and rolling through the center. Maybe engage the low belly and the pelvic floor. So this is the gesture as if you have to urinate, you want to keep it in for a little longer. This might induce this feeling of a longer spine. Maybe if you close the eyes, you can envision that line coming from those deep, deep muscles protecting the reproductive organs, all the way out of the pelvis, through the low back, through the mid back, through the shoulders, up through the neck and out through the top of the head. One long line. Lower the left palm down to the ground, sweep the right arm up, look over the right shoulder, still working to press the right knee out to the right. Back through center, right palm down, sweep the left arm and the left gaze over the left shoulder. One more time, left palm down, right arm goes up. You can stay here or can fold the right arm behind you, coming into a half twist, or you can have that right palm go, the left palm, find the right behind the back, coming into a little bind. Still working to keep the weight of the body into the backs of the feet. Still working to pry the two knees away from each other. Back through center. Place the right palm on the ground, sweep the left arm up, looking over the shoulder. You can stay here, or you can fold, bend the left arm behind the back, reaching towards the right hip, or you can bend the right arm around the right knee to find the left hand behind you, finding bind on the other side, and shifting the weight to the outer and back edges of the feet. Pulling the knees away from one another and behind you. Back through center. Let's just pause here. You can shift side to side a bit. All right, lower the seat to the floor. Extend the two legs out in front of you. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, fold over the legs until you reach a point where your back wants to curve. See if you can stay upright with a long, straight back. I'm going to turn so you can see how high this might be. So the other thing too, everyone come upright. So shoulders, head stacked over the hips. Maybe you grab some of the flesh of your butt so you can maybe feel those two bony parts of the pelvis meet the floor. Sweep the arms up overhead. Toes flex back towards the face. Maybe your knees are bent. And fold over the legs. Right? So my back is straight. I'm still pretty upright. I managed to catch my toes, but I have a bend in my knees. So if you want to straighten the knees, you might experience this rounding of the back, which is fine. But maybe challenge yourself first to back out. I'm still getting really generous stretch on the back side of the legs. And maybe your hands don't find your feet or your lower legs. And maybe you allow gravity to encourage the chest closer to the floor. And what feels really good, I think, is if you let the knees be super bent and let the chest lay on them, just as when we're in forward fold standing up. And then you can let the head dip and be heavy. Maybe you gradually are able to walk the heels away from the seat. All right, walk the torso back to upright. You're gonna bend the right knee into the chest, stamping the right foot on the floor. Step the right foot across the left thigh. And you're going to, you can either keep the left leg long in front of you, or you can bend the left knee, place the right heel on the outside of the right hip. So you might have to shift, recentering the hips on the inside or centered between the 2 feet. So if this is hurting your knees, we'll figure something out that's better. One thing that is useful, so if your left knee is hurting, keep it long in front of you. That's fine. Or you can grab a pillow, sit up on it, so feel much better. You can sit up on many pillows or blankets. So we're starting here first. I'm going to encourage you to hug that right knee, the top knee, in towards the chest. So really the right foot is stamped down on the floor rather than resting on its side, whereas your left foot is, the outer edge of the left foot is on the ground. So first you're facing forward, you're just kind of stretching the outer side of that right hip. And then if you like, you can start to twist open to the right. You can hook the right thumb into the crease of the right hip, kind of press it down into it. So you have a bent right arm. You're still holding with the left arm, the right knee in. And if you like, you can press the right palm into the ground behind you, using it as a kickstand. And maybe with your bent left elbow, you can press the right knee away and start to look over the right shoulder. Take whatever iteration allows you to keep a long, stacked spine. Check back in with the breath. Does it exist? And once you have it back kicked into gear, see if we can measure it out. See if we can elongate each in and out breath. All right, coming back through center. Do a gentle counter twist to the other side. Let's look over the left shoulder. All right, we're gonna switch out the legs. Both go long in front. Bend the left knee, step the left foot over the right thigh. You either stay here as you grab your arm, or grab with your right arm the left knee, or you bend the right knee, bringing the outside of the right foot to the outer edge of the left hip. Maybe you have to rock the hips to get more centered. Maybe you grab a pillow if you didn't have it before. So your left foot stamped into the floor. Maybe you walk it in closer. You grab the left knee with the right arm, and you start to turn to the right. The left thumb can hook into the crease of the left hip to draw the hip down towards the floor. Pull the left knee and thigh towards the chest. Maybe you stamp the left palm on the ground. Kickstand arm, and maybe with the bent right elbow, the elbow finds the outer edge, the outer side of the left thigh, and you press it away and start to look over the left shoulder. Again, take whatever form allows the spine to be stacked and long and straight. So basically, this means take whatever form is the one where those bony parts of your pelvis are still on the floor. Otherwise, the low spine is going to rock, curve outward like this, and you're going to cave in. You'd rather have something less expressive, but certainly more beneficial and safe. A few more breaths. Coming back through center, counter twist over to the right. Ooh. Take out the legs, extend them long in front of you. All right. Last thing we'll do is a similar pose. So we're going to stamp the right foot down on the ground, right knee in, step the right foot over the left thigh, bend the left knee. So we're finding the same exact position as before, although this time we're going to shift the hips a little bit more so the two knees, if we look down on them, are approaching, stacking, one on top of the other. Okay, so I'm going to turn to face you so you can kind of see what this maybe looks like, at least in my body. All right, so the 2 feet, the two outer edges of the 2 feet are on the ground. The 2 knees are stacked. And maybe you grab the 2 sides of the butt, pull that flesh backwards so you can feel a little more upright, a little more lifted out of the pelvis. You can stay here, because this is a lot, or you can lean forward, walking the hands out in front of you, trying to keep a long straight back as long as possible. Allowing the gaze just to fall softly down over the nose, slightly forward. This is stretching both outer hips. You want to back out of the stretch as soon as you feel your hips and your butt come up off the floor. You're trying to keep a long spine, which means the head and the neck are pulling away from the pelvis, but in doing so, they don't pull the pelvis along forward with it. So I want to keep the pelvis nice and grounded and heavy. Otherwise, you're just not going to get a good stretch. And then you can back it on out, come to sitting upright. Going to extend the left arm up overhead alongside the ear, bend the left elbow, extend the right arm out to the side, thumbs down, bend the elbow, finding the center of the back. You can stay here, and maybe the two hands just grip onto the back of your shirt in different spots. Or maybe you're able to work the left elbow up in the air so it's behind the head. You push the head back into it. We're working to rotate the right shoulder out and down. And maybe one day the two fingertips, the two sets of fingertips find each other. That is not happening for me today, especially on this side. We're still working the head and neck back into the bent left arm. Still pulling the belly in to keep upright, long spine. And we're still breathing, of course. All right, gently release the two arms, shake them out. Find the other side, so legs forward in front of you. This time, bend the left knee, step the left foot over the right thigh. Bring the right foot alongside the left outer hip. So now, two knees are stacked. Again, outer edges of both feet are alongside the hips. Maybe you re-grab the flesh, moving it backwards to allow bony points of the pelvis to ground into the floor. Feel a nice long stacked spine. You can stay here, or you can start to walk the fingers and the chest forward, trying to keep a straight back. What we really want to do is keep the chest broad rather than hunched over, okay? So you can tuck the shoulder blades down the back, still feeling the hip points rooted behind you. So even as your torso goes forward, keep the pelvis heavy. Gaze can be soft. Eventually we'll back ourselves back to upright. And we can try the shoulder stretch the other side by extending the right arm up overhead, bending the right elbow, the right palm falls behind the neck, the upper back. Extend the left arm out, thumb faces down, bend the left arm to find the center of the back. And maybe we just grip two different parts of our shirt, but we press the head back into the upper right arm. We work the upper left shoulder, open and down. Pull the belly in, support the spine. Our chin might be tucked, that's okay. That stretches the back, the neck, the top of the spine. Stay breathing despite the discomfort. All right, release the arms, shake them out, extending the legs forward. Separate the feet out a little bit. We'll scoot the hips forward, coming onto those bony parts of the feet, of the hips again. And we'll just take a gentle fold forward between the legs. Just a restful straddle. Head dips towards the floor. The spine can be curved. Walk back upright. We're going to bend the left arm, bringing it down on the floor. We're going to touch the right shoulder with the right hand and peel the chest open, looking up towards the ceiling, keeping the left elbow on the ground. Press the left forearm into the floor. And maybe we extend the right arm up overhead. Maybe the right arm extends over the ear. Nice side stretch on the right. Coming back upright. Other side, right elbow bends on the inside of the right leg. Let's trace the line of our collarbones with the left hand, finding the left shoulder, looking over the shoulder, pressing the floor away on the right side and extending the left arm up overhead. Maybe extending the left arm over the left ear. Still looking up under that left hand. Coming back upright. Gather the feet into center and finding a final resting position. So that can be seated upright, long spine. It can be with that pillow still underneath the seat. It can be laying down on the back, finding your traditional corpse pose or shavasana. And wherever you end up, take a few moments to situate your moving parts, redistribute the weight of your bones and flesh. Allow the gaze to soften or the eyes to fully close. Feel the heaviness of your bones and the contact points of the bones and the floor or the mat beneath you. Now draw your attention back to the center of the chest. The breath enters the torso, enters the top of the lungs, and watch. Watch with your attention, not with your vision. The chest rising and falling. Shifting that attention down to the center of the belly. The wide point of the ribs. And watch the breath move the ribs and expand. Feel the inhalation press the floor away. And then moving the attention down to the lowest part of the belly. Feel the breath press the belly button, the abdomen out. And feel all of that retract and release the breath. Maybe the breath is slowing, becoming more shallow. And just rest. I'm going to leave you here. I encourage you to stay here in repose for 3 more minutes at least. There's nothing to do wherever you are, just to sit or lay. Everything else can wait for 3 minutes. Thank you so much for giving yourself a chance to set yourself up for these 3 final minutes. I hope it's the best part of your day. See you next week.